A common criticism of Angular is that it is complicated compared with ReactJS and Vue.js. While this is not wrong, it is important to remember the context for this complexity. ReactJS and Vue.js are Vue libraries, and Vue libraries are just a part of the Angular framework. Even when we compare Vue libraries, Angular's components, directives, and pipes are much more feature-rich than ReactJS and Vue.js. Furthermore, you'll find that much of Angular's complexity are enhancements for modularity and scalability. Important features for team development, though not so much for simple one-man developed web apps. You can easily ignore these enhancements and structures if you choose. What if we do just that? Using just Angular's Vue library to implement a quick and dirty app, say the TicTacToe game, this should give us a better way to compare similar development efforts. Let's start by using the Angular CLI to create an application skeleton. We use the --inline style and --inline template to reduce the number of files generated. This is the simplest form of the Angular application that can be generated. Next, we go into the IDE to prepare for the development, and we wait for yarn to complete the installing. Now we are ready. Okay, going back into the IDE, we start up the live development server using ng-serve. And while that is compiling, we start up Chrome as the development browser. There are two files that we'll be changing, app_component.ts and app_module.ts. We can see that it's now working. We will change the header to quick and dirty tic-tac-toe. Okay, save it, and that works. Okay, next we are going to add the board element. Clean up app component, and we define the board component in the same file. Okay, this is not recommended, but this is the quick and dirty version, so we'll just do something that's simple, right? Okay. And for the board's template, we use a placeholder. Complete the definition of the board class. Go to app module and add in the board decoration. Okay, save it. And you can see that it works. Now let's go back to the board component. We want to define the display of a board that consists of 3 rows. Okay, so using ng-for, we define a local variable called row, and row will iterate over an array of 0, 1, and 2. And in each row, there will be 3 squares. Again, we are declaring a new element, a new component, and declaring a column variable that will iterate over 0, 1, and 2 similarly. Next, we define the square component. Square component will have a selector square, which is what we use in the template in board. And again, for the squares template, we use a simple placeholder, just the letter S. Okay. Declare the square component in app module. Save the files, and you can see that we get a grid of 9 S's. Let's create the style so that we can see the grid of the tic-tac-toe. We want to style the whole square, so we use the host special selector, and we set the width and the height to 45px. Set the border to a solid 1px gray line. And set the element to float left. Okay, now let's see how that works out. Okay, we got our squares, but they are all in the same row. Let's go up to board element, and similarly, we are going to add the styles so that each row is actually on its own. That should do it. Let's test it out. Great. The next thing we want to do is we notice S is small and in the top left corner. So let's make that a larger size and put it in the middle of each square. Okay. Next, what we want to do is instead of displaying just the letter S, we want to display the state in each square. So the state of the square is something that board will set. Is a property that board will set in square. So we will declare an input property that's called state in square. And change the template so that it displays the value of state. And now we go back to the template in board. And set the state property of each square to column plus row times 3. So this will give us the index of each of the square, as you can see displayed in the browser. Next, we are going to set up the board state, which we'll call squares. And this will be an array of 9 elements of now. And we'll change the template so that each state of each square is the value of the squares array. Since the value in each element of squares is now, okay, you will see the empty tic-tac-toe board. Next, we want to listen to the click event on each of the squares so that we can make a move. And we define the make move function to take in the position of each of the square. Right? Using console.log, we make sure that this function is working. Refresh it, and now when we click on each square, we find that the position is been displayed in console. Let's change this now so that instead of displaying this console log, it inserts a move into the square when it's clicked. Okay, wait for the reload, and now, yep. Okay, that seems to be working. Okay, tic-tac-toe, we are not going to just be putting X's. We'll be also putting O's. So we'll define a field player and set that to X. Okay, and each time we make a move, we set the value of player to O if it's an X and vice versa. Okay, save that, recompose. All right, that seems to be working. Oh, but there's a problem, right? So we find that if we click on a square that's already where there's already a move, it still makes that move. So we want to add in an if statement to make sure that the square is empty when we make the move. Save that. Okay, so when we click on the middle square, it doesn't change the value to something else. To make the game more useful, we are going to add a status line. Status line is going to tell us which player's turn it is. So let's do that. Okay, we define a new role. We define a new element called status. Okay, and using the get accessor in TypeScript, we define status to return a string that displays the current state of the player. Okay, you can see that player X has been displayed right now, and this toggles between X and O as you play the game. Next, we want to make sure that the game is able to detect a winning move and declare a winner, right? So let's put that that check right after a move has been made. Okay, and to define the winning move, we'll use a function that returns a boolean. By default, this function returns false. And to detect the winning moves, we enumerate the kinds of winning moves that there can be. So in this case, we have the rows, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have the columns, which is in the position of 0, 3, 6, 1, 4, 7, and 2, 5, 8. So each one of these are the winning combination of the moves, right? And lastly, we have the diagonals, the 0, 4, 8 and 2, 4, 6. To find the winning move, we iterate over these lines. And if any of these lines in the square is not empty and are of the similar value, of the same value as the other two members of the line, we know that we have found a winning position. And we return true. All right, let's complete the make move function with this winning move. Okay. When there's a winning move, we want to set the winner to the current player. All right. So we create another field call winner and set it to null so that if there's no winner, it will be null, right? Okay. We update status so that if there's a winner, we will declare the winner. Otherwise, we will declare the next player. Let's test it out. All right. Right, you can see that it detects the winner. Oh, but there's a problem. Okay, the game doesn't stop after a winner has been found. So we need to add another guide, another check to make sure that if there's a winner, the game stops and no further moves can be done. Let's test that out. Okay, X is the winner now, and you can see that no other moves can be made right now. So this is only for one game. What if we want to have a button that says new game, right? So let's do that. We define a button in the board template, call it new game, and set the click command to call the new game function. For new game, we want to reset the squares, players, and winner. So in the new game function, we just copy the default values and set the fields in board to the default values. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, that works. And that concludes our quick and dirty tic-tac-toe.